This week's violence in Bowdoin and Yarmouth are reminders that when people die after the initial shock, there is always someone who grieves their loss.
And for more than 3 decades now, one organization has been there to help some of those people deal with the grief. It was created to help Mainers with the process free of charge. News Center Maine's Sam Rogers tonight explains why the Center for Grieving Children was founded and why its services keep expanding.
This is going up in an older age group.
It may look like a place to play, but these rooms serve as a place of comfort and healing.
I was here only 3 years from Ireland when my middle child, my 10-year-old daughter, died suddenly.
Behind every name, there's a story. And behind every death of a loved one, there's a family left behind.
You're just wondering, how am I going to be a parent that is not, a deer in the headlights sort of way, and how was I going to parent my 2 boys?
Ann Harrows and her boys found themselves dealing with grief, but they weren't in it alone. More than 20 years ago, volunteers from a relatively new organization were there to help.
It was the first outreach they ever did, was coming to the school the next morning because it was a very sudden thing that happened.
These specially trained Mainers welcomed Harrows and her sons into their new space, the Center for Grieving Children in Portland.
I was blown away by the fact that volunteers were facilitating our groups.
We've actually trained probably over 1,500 volunteers by now.
For 32 years, Linda Kelly has been involved with the center. Now she trains volunteers.
Without the volunteers, there wouldn't be a Center for Grieving Children.
More than 100 of them help facilitate groups every week, and many are dealing with their own grief.
They help the families, and in turn, the work, I think, helps heal volunteers.
You're not expected to have magic words. You're not expected to change the person in front of you. It's just about being present.
That's the focus here.
I was a grief counselor at the time.
35 years ago, Jacob Watson remembers when his close friend Bill Hemmons returned to Maine from Portland, Oregon. Hemmons just had a death in his own family and heard about a grief center out west and wanted to start one here.
And it was a transformative moment for both of us. We were the 3rd in the country. So it was a brand new idea.
Dealing with loss and grief is not a new concept, but 35 years ago, this center found a new focus.
Because at the time, not many people really thought about children and grief. You meet other children that have had similar losses.
In age-appropriate rooms, the center allows families to share how they're dealing with loss at their own pace.
And playing makes it a bit easier.
And after their own meetings, some family members feel compelled to help others.
That I hoped that one day I'd be strong enough to come back as a volunteer, which I did.
Harrows is the current executive director of the center and has been for the last 22 years, helping manage new families and new programs for kids who came to Maine as refugees.
Helps them with their own assimilation into school and their own monitoring of their feelings and how to manage that.
It's not just their broken hearts that they're bringing in, but their broken spirits.
Even after all these years, Watson says the need for these grieving centers remains crucial.
There needs to be more compassion and more understanding and less violence.
Grief. It's an unfortunate reality of life. And Watson adds, sometimes all those who are grieving need is someone to talk to as they heal on their own schedule.
It's their experience of grief, and that's what's important.
An experience that has brought thousands here over the last 35 years, and its programs are ready to help Mainers dealing with grief for decades to come. In Portland, Sam Rogers, News Center, Maine.
The Center for Grieving Children also has a location in Sanford. Those volunteers also host young adult groups every week, along with a number of webinars.
If you need them, there is always a volunteer ready to help you and your family. You can head to our News Center Maine app to find more information.